It's all about that brass. Hi friends, Steve Rondinaro, and we're going to shine our 50th retro spotlight on the horn lines today. That big, glorious sound that keeps us all coming back for more. As the 60s became the 70s, two brass lines were making serious waves in the Midwest. They even got their own record album in 1971 called 5.0. A reference to the perfect content analysis score. The Argonne Rebels from Great Bend, Kansas were American Legion national champs thanks to that horn line. A line that was taught by a very dedicated, systematic young lady named Sandra Opie, who was also defying gender stereotypes of the era.
Well, gave all of them private lessons every week. And each kid had a private lesson. And I practiced with them before school at 8 o'clock in the morning till 8:30 or 9, depending on where they went to school. And I lived, ate, and slept drum corps.
Argonne's horn line propelled them into the first DCI finals in 1972. The Madison Scouts had an arranger and lead instructor named Ray Baumgart, a tough teacher with high standards.
We operate on the premise that the horn line is limited only by the imagination, determination, and expertise of the instructional staff.
Even though they were part of the Midwest Combine that helped spawn DCI, the Madison Scouts didn't make those first finals. They finished 14th. Things were unraveling inside with the staff. So at a staff meeting going into 73,
and Gary Chapinski said, why don't you give the kid a chance? And Howard looked at him and looked at me and said, okay, we're going to give the kid a chance. He can run the rehearsals and do that kind of stuff.
That kid, Jim Elvord, grew up as a marching member of the Madison Scouts, as did most of the rest of his family. After butting heads with Baumgart as a marching member, Jim soon figured out, hey, Ray was right. And the two of them became a force and developed a teaching approach for the Scouts, working with the kids individually on breath control, posture, flexibility, and embouchure, things that are now the norm today, but not so much back then. The 73 Corps got dramatically better as the season went along. They shot up to a 4th place finish at DCI finals.
The Madison Scouts.
The 74 Scouts were in the hunt for the DCI title right up until the end. They even notched the first ever 10 in GE brass. God bless the child, took them in a new direction.
And that was the first time I used exclusively a syllabic system. A lot like the old jazz players would teach guys who couldn't read. So, you'd have the doodly up, skilly up, dood up, the bam. And we put all those things into that chart. But now we've got a language.
But the Santa Clara Vanguard was speaking a new percussion language thanks to DCI Hall of Famer Fred Sanford and brought crowds to their feet with a bottle dance. The Scouts were runners-up.
The Madison Scouts!
Then the magic season of 75, when it all came together with blazing brass brilliance. Soloist Chris Metzger-Forbes remembers it well and is proud to display his mementos. He also has vivid memories of standing in front of that horn line pushing forward.
I remember that as being one of those moments where I kind of went, wow, this is like a slice of heaven. This is really awesome.
And it wasn't just louder, faster, higher with the Scouts, although loud was certainly part of the equation.
Volume is nothing more than the quantity of air you put through the horn. And if you train your kids well to know how to deal with air, and to sustain it and know how to do it, then you're going to have volume. And then when you add the clarity that we put on with the syllabic system, it's like a hot knife through butter. It's just.
Slaughter on 10th Avenue, Rhapsody in Blue, MacArthur Park. The Scouts' horn line was on fire that night in '75 in Philadelphia. Well, there was this one moment, says Chris.
One of the more memorable moments in '75, coming up for the first solo in MacArthur Park, is all of a sudden getting up there, do my thing, blah, 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 blah. You can predict everything that's going to happen, right? Except with the big camera that all of a sudden started rolling right in on me. Wow, and it wasn't one of those little things they put on the shoulder. It was a big thing.
Yes, it was DCI's first time live on PBS, but Chris settled in and soloed on, as the Scouts rocked the house with a show designed to hit the fans hard.
The kids knew that there had to be 5 places in that show where we had to get them on their feet. They were designed to do that, to make people get so emotionally charged that they can't sit in their seats and they have to get up.
And did they ever?